So here I am in Puna, Peru, and I'm on a floating island. And they built it out of stuff, which I'm going to show you in a second. But these are the houses they live in. Now, I woke up this morning and I was at the hostel, right? And the guy was late and they didn't give me a voucher, so we had to figure it out. So it was really important that I spoke Spanish. And then I showed up here and I got in the wrong boat. And I asked the guy, are all the boats the same? And he said yes, but they weren't, which was kind of a bummer. And then I had to get into a different boat and I hit my head. And now I'm here. So I'm gonna spend the night in the Los Uros, or the floating islands in Peru. And let's go ahead and check them out. Now, Sacsayhuaman means to have satisfaction. Now, this is the head of the puma, as we were talking about. And the satisfaction the puma had were of the Incas, when the Spanish killed the Incas at this point, when they had taken the rest of Cusco. Now, the representation and significance of this space right here is prominent. You can see the 3 levels behind me. Now, the 3 levels behind me are absolutely significant in every way, the way the Incas made it. Now, 1, 2, 3 represent the different elements in the Inca mythology. Now, you can look at first the top, which is the representation of the condor. Then in the middle, the representation of the puma. And then finally, the representation of the serpent. Now, this is fascinating because it's also represented. Alrighty, now here I am on the island of reeds that was built by these people. And this is kind of how they do it. They get these blocks and they cut them off the ground, and they've got roots in them, so they float, which is convenient to make an island. Then they stack these roots up here back and forth over it, and then they put little dolls on top of it and to see if it floats. No, that's not true. But these are actually representations of the different people on board. So what you're doing is you're actually getting these little roots that float. You've got roots stacked crosswise, and then they actually live on top of it. Now, there's probably only between 2 to 3 feet in between me and the water right now. So I just found out something rad about flamingos. Apparently, the tradition is that they use their blood to protect pregnant women against evil and harm. So they bleed these little bastards, and then they have the pregnant women drink the blood because they think it protects them. And they also drink duck blood with wine to protect them from evil. And I don't know if that's true or not because some French girl just told me it, but I'm gonna believe her because she's French. So these right here are the pools. And right over here, you can see the seats, which they used to sit down. So they wouldn't have to look up at the stars, but they could look down with these ponds. Now, these rocks and this artificial lake is absolutely phenomenal in the way they were able to use their technology, their time, and definitely proves that not only were the Incas brilliant, not only were they great architects, but they were astronomers as well, looking at this artificial lake behind me and how they constructed it. And coincidentally, you can see 3 levels once again. Now, I'm inside one of their houses. Shh! I don't know if they know I'm here, but as you can see, they've got beds, which is really convenient to sleep on in houses. And then they've got clothes that they've hung up. And he's got a little sweet boombox. So this is what you'd live in if you lived in an Umuru house. So you got beds. I'm still trying to figure out where they go to the bathroom. Representation of the 3 elements of power the Inca felt, which was the lightning, the thunder, and finally the death that being struck by the lightning and thunder brought. Now, this also is representation of the 3 levels of Inca. Now, one of them is the Ayapacha, which is the sky. The second is the Cayopacha, which is the earth which we're on. And the last is the Ukupacha, which is the underworld. And these are the different ideas of mythology which people moved in and out of in the Inca mythological stories. So this is quite a significant space, and you can see the stonework behind me, how significant it is. 600 years ago they built this to withstand their enemies, but unfortunately couldn't withstand measles, a civil war, and the invasion of the Spanish. Now, the Incas were known as famous astronomers, but how do we know that? Well, one of the most significant things is here at Sacsayhuaman, and that is this giant artificial lake behind me. But what I'm going to show you in a moment is these channels and the seats right over there. And what they prove is that they used to form these lakes so that when the sky and the stars shone down, they looked at the stars from the reflection in the water.